other insurance subjugated it. He signed in his policy that
He would, yeah.
use aftermarket parts.
So on his own policy,
So it's
he
kind
did
of like
that.
a
Yeah.
null and void thing.
It can be, but actually, shockingly, the Texas Bill of Rights supersedes their policy. But here to your point,
Yeah,
then
now
your
it's a total
client
loss.
has to have enough.
Now it's a total loss.
Well, I'd rather it be a total loss than fix something that I shouldn't be fixing, just me personally.
Yeah.
But the thing does come into play, and to your point, insurance companies are going to push back on that, and then it's going to become, does your client want to fight back? You know, unfortunately, you've got to get them involved in that, right? And if they choose that they're not going to fight back on it, there's really not anything you can do other than maybe have them cite a hold harmless that you're not responsible.
But this one particular customer, okay, total loss, but now you're 3,000 upside down in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
no,
a
I
lot
get
of
it, there's a
factors.
lot. But here's what I'll say, you know, one thing I will tell you, and again, I get it, and it's valid, right? But one thing the lawyer says that did sue John Eagle, and I've had the pleasure of actually sitting down and talking to this man, Phil's met him. What he says is, and this is something that you should remember, don't ever make monetary decisions over a safety decision when you're repairing a car, right? So the point of that is that if you start making decisions that are monetary, if this thing ends up in court, you're done, right? So it's a fine line, I get it, we're trying to run a business, we want to fix that car, the customer may want the car back, which even makes me want to fix it more if they don't want the car, and that makes me want to fix it less. But you do have to make a business decision on whether or not should I or should I not fix this car, right? In that scenario. Yes, sir?
Also, there's like bad financial decisions on the customer too. Because if they're upside down,
Right.
$5,000, that's really not, you know, and I'm not gonna repair
Yeah.
something that later down the line they might die.
So total money trail, but if you want another option for that scenario right there where you've got an insurance company that's written into their policy about the aftermarket parts and they want to ignore the Texas Bill of Rights, and let's just, or it's a borderline total. In the state of Texas, did you all know, I'm sure you do, that the insurance company could total a car at any percentage of damage that they want to. There is no law, like there are in other states, by the way, that says they have to reach a certain threshold. In the state of Texas, they can do whatever's best for them. That's why you see them totaling Hondas and Toyotas at 40, or Nissan at 40, 50%, because the salvage value on those cars is so high, they can sell them and move on, okay? So here's one way you can combat that, especially if you've got a scenario where you've got a customer who wants to keep the car, right? And doesn't want it totaled. Maybe they're upside down to your point and the insurance company doesn't give a shit. I can give you a phone number of a guy to call. My point is that you need to turn your customer on to a public insurance adjuster. And there are some really good ones out there. A lot of people in Phil's in my 20 group and Ed too, a lot of people, Park Place and some of those guys are actually using public insurance adjusters for two reasons. One, to make sure that the Texas Bill of Rights is followed, especially when you've got a customer that's kind of on your side, right, that we get that done. The other thing is to change the value of the car, right? So if they come in and they say they're going to total a car at 50%, right? They're basing it off of whatever their perceived value is of the car, which by the way is wrong. It's always wrong. It's wrong usually by a couple grand. At minimum, it's wrong by that much. If you get a public insurance adjuster, they know what to write and how to verbalize it where they will bring the value of that car up. So one or two things is going to happen, and it's a win for y'all no matter what. Either A, you're going to raise the value of it and your client is going to get a bigger check for their total, which then they certainly appreciate that from you, right? Or the other side is you're going to bring the value of the car up so much that they can't afford to total it, and it's going to force them to fix it. So, properly, right. So I'm just saying that is a very valid, viable option that is out there today.
Just any independent appraiser?
Man, there's good ones and bad ones. There's a guy in the state of Texas that is by far my favorite, the one who spoke at our thing. Robert McDorman is his name, and his company name, Auto Claim Specialist. If you Google auto claim specialist, he'll come right up. Super sharp guy, real nice dude, and very, very knowledgeable on that side of things. Now, this isn't something that you want to deploy, on every damn claim or whatever, but if that scenario or a scenario like that comes up, it's a good option, especially in the world when you've got a client who wants their car back, right? And you've got an insurance company that's trying to total their car. So, like I said, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to make a customer for life because you're going to give them good advice and they're going to get more money for their total, or the insurance company is going to back off and say, okay, we got to.
Question: who covers the cost of that?
The client.
Yeah, but they cost a couple $100.
Yeah, it's more than, so,
Right.
The way his pitch is it's not going to cost him crap because he's going to take it out of whatever he gets. You would have to talk to Robert, but I'm pretty sure if he doesn't,
But now how does that?
if he doesn't up the value, he doesn't charge.
Exactly, that's
Right.
what that's-
It's like pro bono.
And then you got, like State Farm's trying to get rid of a car, like, doesn't want to fix it, totaling it, and then you got your independent adjuster. Now they end up fighting with each other, but you're the one that signed this policy with State Farm. Does that make sense? Like, how do you get, just because this independent adjuster comes out and says the car's worth this much, and State Farm says
Yeah.
it's not worth that much, I mean, it doesn't end up being like a court battle or something like this.
Well, it could be a court battle. They could subrogate, right? Didn't you bring up subrogating? It could be a subrogate thing where they end up fighting each other in court later. At the end of the day, your scenario just tells you that there's no perfect science to this, right? So your independent adjuster says it's worth X, State Farm says it's worth X. It's not. Neither of them are right?
Exactly.
At that point, you're dealing with the person though who's accepting liability on the claim, right?
Yeah.
So whoever that person is,
So it doesn't really work if they're the insured.
it absolutely can't work if they're the insured. No, it absolutely does work if they're the insured. That scenario that it doesn't matter that there are two insurance companies involved. Insured claimant makes no difference. A public insurance adjuster is the opposite of an independent insurance adjuster. Independent insurance adjusters are the people that you see that are hired by insurance companies, like the PDAs of the world. Are they down here, PDA?
Yeah.
Okay, they're in Dallas too. That's an independent insurance adjuster. A public insurance adjuster is the same skill set, but they fight for the public, for the consumer, not for the insurance companies.
But I mean, like, say I got like a friend that works for PDA, he could do the same job, he would just do
It's
it
possible,
on his
yeah.
independent license. Not
Yeah.
through PDA, he would just come out and use his appraiser's license.
I'm pretty sure he could. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he could. Now, here's the thing. I don't think TDA is going to do that for you.
No.
Yeah, they
PDA,
might.
but-
Yeah.
Alright.
But you see what I'm saying? In other words, I guess my point is PDA is tied at the hip to the insurance companies. They're not going to go around and start ruffling feathers at insurance companies. You know what I mean? It's highly unlikely. Your buddy would probably put his job at risk if he started down that path. But the PIA, the public insurance adjusters, that's what they're here for, right? That's what they make money on, right? That's their job. So we just don't use them enough. And again, you don't want to be that guy or gal that, like, every time a client comes in, you're like turning them on to a public insurance adjuster, because then every time the insurance company comes, you're gonna be like, Chris is such a jackass, man. He makes everything so hard, right? But there's times, right, where you could deploy that and it might actually help your client.
Maybe like when you said that they're trying to make you do a unsafe job.
Well, there's that piece too. He could come into play there too. He absolutely could. Definitely, if they're trying to make you do something that's not right, I just feel like you've got to, again, don't make a decision over money. If you can't get the client to get on your side and you can't get anybody to do the right thing, then I just walk away from that job. That's just my opinion, right? You guys and gals have to make your own business decisions. But there isn't anybody in here that can afford a $33 million lawsuit, right? Anybody think you can keep your doors open after you get tagged for 33 mil? John Eagle can, but most of us in this room are not going to be able to make it through that, right? So,
back to those aftermarket parts, it's kind of, like you said, it's kind of tough to make that monetary decision. That judgment call, hey, do we still put these aftermarket parts? But for one, we got a relationship with an insurance company, or, if we're working on a 2008 Camry or something, and the insurance with justifications, the insurance gonna say, hey, well, okay, we'll put a OEM impact form. I don't believe so, but you know, we got options, price match and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's,
Which is unfortunate because they shouldn't
have
get
to.
to save the money on a
Right,
price
exactly.
match, right? They should
So-
have to pay for the right thing.
it's just,
And-
it gets kind of tough.
No, I absolutely, I get, it's, trust me, I know it's very easy for me to stand up here and talk about this stuff. It's a lot harder in the real world to deal with it all,
Yeah.
right? But what I am trying to make sure on this subject that everybody realizes is that things have changed, right? And you have to be smart and make good business decisions on these cars that you're fixing. And you cannot just arbitrarily throw parts on a car and like think that you can just walk away and throw your hands up and you're good, because that's not gonna be how that goes
Especially on the
down.
liability
And
standpoint.
this, what happened when John Eagle got sued, it's not, some people are like, oh God, the lawyer that sued them, he's gonna be out trying to sue all of us. It's not him that you need to worry about. Phil will tell you he's met him. That guy's got more money than he knows what to do with. I've offered to pay for him to fly in places to have him speak at events. He won't take my money. He gets on private planes and just shows up and speaks for free. The guy doesn't give a crap about money. The problem is all the young lawyers that just saw that lawsuit go through, they care. So those are your ambulance chasers that are now, it's on their radar. So we can be mad at Todd for bringing to everybody's attention. He won't be the dude that shows up at your shop.
But actually, he's after the manufacturer
He
more
is.
than anything.
He spends more time suing the manufacturer than he does.
But unfortunately, every time he gets into it, he finds that a body shop did a
Lately.
substandard job.
Yeah, lately, a couple of them. That's what happened on that one. Yeah, to Phil's point, just so y'all know, that Honda Fit that John Eagle got sued over, the original lawsuit was against Honda. You know, they thought the car failed, right? Until they started looking deeper and realized that it had a roof put on it, and then they had to trail it back to, it had gone through 2 different owners. They had to trail it back to John Eagle to find out that it was actually worked on in the shop. Yeah, it was always a hail damage job. That's it. Big hail, but nonetheless, just hail.
So don't change any roofs.
Yeah, well, just follow the OE procedure. The thing about Honda is, and they're not all the same, to your point, they don't all have great information. Honda does know, by the way. Honda tells you exactly how many welds and where they're supposed to be spaced on that roof when you replace it. I mean, they are dead on how you're supposed to do it. So if the OE says to do it that way, do it that way. The guy at John Eagle stood up in court and basically told the jury that we don't look at the OE's procedures, we just glue every roof on. That's what he told them. It's in his deposition. It's just like, what? He said that we have our own process at John Eagle. We glue on every roof. That's what we do. And that's what he said, loud, on paper. Yeah. Shockingly, up until just a month ago, and it may have changed now, the dude still had his job, which I'm overly shocked at. But again, you gotta look it up, right? You know, that on that piece. So other things about aftermarket parts, again, what started me on this rant was the customer informed of their use. There are policies that are written that have this crap written into them. To your point, I just got done reading my mother's deck page to make damn sure that it wasn't in there when she re-signed for her insurance. Some of that's in there, but a lot of times they don't put it in there and they still come into your shop or tell your client that they're going to use these parts. And there are times that the Texas Bill of Rights will stop that, just so you know. And that's a free download. You can go on to TDI and grab the Texas Bill of Rights and you can print it and you can laminate it, and every time they come in you can show it to them if you so choose, right? This is something that most people don't know, though your insurance partners probably aren't going to give a crap, but all the aftermarket parts suppliers know what their return rate is on their parts. All I'm saying here is if we got to make business decisions that were smart for our own shop, would we order parts that have a 15% or greater return rate? Absolutely not, right? I mean, why would we want to do that? So you can make an argument. I have seen shops make the argument to insurance companies, because CAPA actually has that information. They will share it with you if you ask for it. whether or not the insurance company still will let you order OE is a whole other thing. Can it pass, can the part pass a solubility test? Do you know what a solubility test is? So if you get an aftermarket fender in, right? If you take a rag and you douse it with thinner and you just lightly wipe it across the fender, then you look at said rag, if any of that black primer is on the rag, it failed. Okay? What that solubility test tells you, by the way, me working for a paint company, is if you can wipe that black primer off of the fender with a rag just on a, now if you set the rag on top of the damn thing and let it soak, it's gonna pull it, right? But if you just lightly wipe over it and you're pulling black off, guess what? That part is not gonna hold paint long term. That's what the solubility test tells you, right? If that primer's coming off with just a wipe, then at some point in time, the paint's going to fail if you paint over the top of that. Just FYI, right? So that's a quick thing you can do. Can you get paid for fit testing? I've got people getting paid for fit testing a lot more now than what we ever did, right? So, you know, if you're